Do you know what the Beats Studio Pro cost at retail? A whopping $349. $349!
$349. $349.
Now, I've been using the Beats Studio Pro as my daily driver headphones for a while now, and let me tell you, these headphones are not worth $349. But I absolutely think you should consider buying them. And I'll give you 3 reasons why. Now, the first thing about these headphones that impressed me was the sound quality. Now, it's safe to say that Beats has very much done away with its overly bass-heavy sound signature, and they've created a pair of headphones that I think most people are going to enjoy the sound of. Now, if you take a look at the multi-dimensional audio quality score results, you can see that the Beats Studio Pro performs very well, scoring an overall 4.8 on a scale of 1 to 5. But what does this all mean? Well, since the scoring system was developed based on the listening preferences of untrained listeners, so just everyday casual listeners, a high score of 4.8 out of 5 means that you are very likely to enjoy how these headphones sound. We can also take a look at the frequency response measurements. Here we've got the frequency response of the Beats Studio Pro, which was measured using our Brüel QR5128 head and torso simulator, which uses ear canals developed using the MRI scans of 40 different people, which we believe gives us a good representation of the average listener. Now, this measurement is also charted alongside our industry-validated preference curve, which is a measurement of what we think sounds good to most people. Now, the general rule of thumb is that a closer a microphone measures to our preference curve, the more confident we feel that you will like the sound of a specific pair of headphones. Though again, your preferences may vary from ours, and that's totally okay. There's nothing wrong with that, to each their own. But we just want to give you all the data that we have to help you make the right buying decision. Based on this chart though, we can see that the Beats Studio Pro closely lines up with our preference curve, which means that we feel confident that you'll like the sound of these headphones. However, there are some notable deviations. For example, in the low end, there is a bit of overemphasis in the sub-bass. However, you won't really hear this per se because this overemphasis is in the lower end of hearing. So this low end bump comes more in the form of increased rumble during bass-heavy songs. I personally didn't mind this. I actually enjoyed that extra thump and rumble in my kick drums and bass synths when I was working out with these headphones. So if you really like to feel the oomph in your kick drums, you might actually appreciate the sub-bass bump. There is also a bit of an overemphasis between 5 to 10 kilohertz. Now, this overemphasis can make room effects like reverb sound a bit more prominent, which could help create a more immersive listening experience. Though depending on the track, higher end sounds like cymbals and hi-hats may sound a bit too shrill to some listeners, which may be distracting during long listening sessions. Personally, I didn't mind this treble overemphasis. In fact, I actually appreciated this treble bump when listening to more lo-fi sounding songs like those made by Namino, but again, your tastes may vary and you might not like this bump. Though overall, I don't think this treble overemphasis will ruin the listening experience for most users. Overall, I enjoyed the sound of the Beats Studio Pro because, to my ears, the headphones just offered the right amount of bass, not too loud to my taste, and there was a good amount of clarity across the frequency spectrum. Not once during my listening experience did I think that drums were masking vocals, and I also never felt that the hi-hats sounded too shrill or too loud to my taste. Beats has come a long way in regards to how they tune their headphones, and the Beats Studio Pro, I feel, is a testament to the company's maturity in the audio space. So when it comes to sound quality, honestly, good job, Beats. Another thing that impressed me about the Beats Studio Pro is its noise canceling performance. And from my experience, I was surprised by how much noise the Beats Studio Pro could cancel out. I could barely hear cars while I was walking down the street, and the metal screeching while riding older subway cars was muted to a faint high-pitched whir on my way to and from work, which means I could really kind of leave the world behind and just sink into my music after a long day at, this job. But don't just take my word for it. In addition to some lab tests, have a listen to some of the ANC simulations we collected. As a disclaimer, remember to only use these simulations for comparison with other headphones that we simulate on the channel. This is not supposed to be a one-to-one translation of your experience with the headphones in real life. With that in mind, have a listen and let me know what you think about the ANC performance of these headphones in the comments. Now, according to our lab tests, the Beats Studio Pro can reduce the loudness of outside noise by an average of 79%, which is good. It's a very good result, but it is less of a reduction of outside noise compared to similarly priced headphones like the Sony WH-1000XM5, which arguably have better ANC performance. Still, if you can get a good fit with these headphones, then the Beats Studio Pro's ANC performance should suffice. Now you're probably thinking, Harley, what do you mean if I can get a good fit? Well, don't worry, we'll talk about that later. But really quickly, I just want to talk about the third reason why I think these headphones are worth recommending to you, because unlike the entire AirPods lineup, the Beats Studio Pro works well on both iOS and Android. On Android, you can download the Beats app to get access to essential features like firmware updates and customizing call and noise controls. Meanwhile, to customize settings on iOS, you just have to go into the Settings app. Unfortunately, features like spatial audio and audio sharing are only available on iOS, which is a bit of a bummer, but hey, at least you can actually update the firmware on an Android phone if that's what you're using. You don't have to borrow your buddy's iPhone. Now, is this the bare minimum? Yeah, it kind of is, but I thought it was still worth pointing out. But for all the good that the Beats Studio Pro has, comes the bad. In fact, there are 3 major gripes I have with these headphones that you do need to know about before you actually consider buying them. First off, the design. Now, it's not awful. I actually quite like some of the design cues here. Like, I like how compact they are and the fact that they can just fold up neatly into your bag. And I like how the control scheme, which is on the left ear cup here, is easy to use. You know, just press up and down for volume controls, then this does all the playback controls, the B here. However, what I don't like is how clicky these buttons are, because while having that tactile feel is nice in theory, it just means that every time I put on the headphones and I want to control the playback volume, I have to hear this loud click right in my ear, which sounds quite loud and gets annoying over time. Also, the clamping force on these headphones are quite tight compared to other headphones. The tight clamping force just starts to feel uncomfortable when I'm listening to music at work or at home, when I'm just sitting down. On top of that, the ear cups on these headphones are barely big enough to fit my ears, and it's far from spacious, especially when I'm used to the space provided by the ear cups on something like the Bose and Sony headphones. Now, with the small ear cups coupled with the tight clamping force, I find it a little hard to wear the Beats Studio Pro for more than a few hours, and I couldn't help but feel a bit of relief after taking off the Beats Studio Pro from my head. Now, if you have smaller ears or a smaller head, then the Beats Studio Pro could be the perfect size for you. So if you are thinking about buying these headphones, then I highly recommend going to a store first and then trying them out for yourself to see if you like the clamping force and the size of the ear cups. As for me, I'd rather choose something like the Bose QC45 or even the Bose Quiet Comfort headphones, which suits my head and my ears a lot more comfortably. Besides the comfort issues, one other gripe I have with the Beats Studio Pro is a weird limitation it has when it comes to EQ presets. The Beats Studio Pro does come with 3 EQ presets for you to choose from. The only problem is that if you want to use these EQ presets, you can only do so when you are connected to your source device via a USB-C cable. You can't use any of the EQ presets while you're over Bluetooth, which is just a really odd limitation that doesn't make sense to me. There are true wireless earbuds that have EQ presets built into the earbud, and you know, they can't connect wired, but you can toggle between the presets just when you're connected through Bluetooth. So I don't get why that limitation exists here. Like, why not toggle through the presets in the app? It just doesn't make sense to me. And finally, my biggest problem with the Beats Studio Pro, more than the design and more than the EQ limitations, is its price. These headphones are $349. $349! $349! And the reason why this price pisses me off is because it's just classic Beats and Apple marketing. They are infamous for selling their products at such high price points, even though you can get much better headphones for that price. For $349, there are a ton of better headphones you could buy at that price point, including the Sony WH-1000XM5, or even the XM4, or even the new Bose Quiet Comfort headphones. So no, the Beats Studio Pro are absolutely not worth its $349 price tag, but they are worth buying if you get them on sale, which is actually not hard to do. Ever since the Beats Studio Pro hit the market last year, we found that these headphones were available at steep discounts, especially during and around Prime Day and Black Friday. Even right now, at the time of recording this video, I can find a pair of the Beats Studio Pro for just under $170 on Amazon. And I'm pretty sure that this was Beats' plan all along. Price it really high at retail value, and then just have it for the actual price, which makes it a better mid-tier option than most on the market. Because at $170, not $349, I think the Beats Studio Pro actually make a great pair of mid-tier headphones. They offer good active noise cancellation, good sound quality, and it works well on both Android and iOS, though you do get more features on an iPhone. I feel like these headphones will suit most people's needs, so long as you don't mind the smaller ear cups and the tighter than usual clamping force. For the love of God, do not buy these headphones at retail price. Please just wait for a sale. But if you do want to drop some cash on some better headphones that are actually worth the higher price tag, then I highly recommend checking out the Sony WH-1000XM5, which are still one of the best headphones we have tested here at SoundGuys. And you can find out what makes these headphones so good right here.